Welcome to the TheDPost Sports Chat. I'm Drew Rubenstein here again with Todd Murray to discuss the WVU baseball team. And Todd, it was an emotional weekend and a very good weekend for the Mountaineers. Beating Texas 2 out of 3 in the final series at Holly Field. And that said, it kind of felt like the end of the season, if you will, I think, for a lot of fans, but hopefully Randy Mazey's hoping that that's not the case for his players, because really they end the season with 2 very quality Big 12 opponents. There's still a lot left to the season here.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously a great taking 2 out of 3 from Texas to close Holly Field out in front of 3 really great crowds over there, but they had to basically put that behind them Sunday night. They've got 2, as you mentioned, 2 very difficult series. They go to Kansas, which might be the only team in the Big 12 that is hotter than them right now. They've swept back-to-back series, I think, for the first time in 10 years in the Big 12. Then they've got to go to Texas Tech, and the Red Raiders rarely lose in Lubbock. So, I mean, they're in 4th place right now, WVU, 9-8 in the league, and they've got 6 tough league games, and they really need to finish over 500 in the Big 12 to really help them get an at-large NCAA berth.
We'll come back and reminisce a little bit about that last weekend at Holly Field and kind of your takeaways, but first, just moving forward and what you just mentioned there, how do you think West Virginia is going to be able to handle just coming off of that emotional high? Now they're going to be back on the road, whereas they had that nice homestand where they're sleeping in their own beds in Morgantown. But how do you think they're going to handle that? Because they still have work to do to secure their spot in the NCAA tournament field.
Yeah, I think they'll handle it well. I mean, they spent most of the first half of this, almost all the first half of the season on the road, so they're used to that. And Randy Mazey drills that into their heads. Really all they need to do is just continue doing what they've been doing. Get the hits, get the solid starting pitching, and Sean Carley out of the bullpen. They don't need to change anything at this point. They just need to go out and play, and they seem to be really loose this weekend. I don't think they put any extra pressure on themselves, even though they were playing that last series at Holly. So Randy Mazey said, just keep going out, keep having fun, and doing what you do.
West Virginia has won 11 of 13 games since April 15th. And when you look at it, they have won a lot of games in the later innings, 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. A lot of times they've played well once they've turned things around here. What does that say about this team, and what kind of sticks out in your mind when you kind of take a step back and evaluate how they've been able to pull out so many close games?
Yeah, well, they've been getting more extra base hits, and that certainly helps. When they were striking a little bit earlier, it was mainly all singles. Of course, in the one game that they lost against Texas, they out-hit the Longhorns 11-6. So those 11 hits were all singles, and they couldn't get the key hit in the right situation, and that had kind of haunted them earlier. But they bounced back Sunday and hit a big home run by Taylor Munden and a bunch of other extra base hits, to wrap up that series.
Going back and looking at this past weekend, Randy Mazey reminisced a little bit just about how far the program's come in his 2 years, but you've covered a lot of WVU baseball over the years, and when you look at the bigger picture, I know West Virginia still has a lot left to go this season, and they can kind of leave their legacy depending on what happens in the months of May and June, but still, 1996, this was a program that was pleading with its fans to donate money just to get lights at Holly Field, and then to see where it's come this past weekend, where there's nice crowds and they're beating Texas. Is it hard to imagine WVU getting to where it is, and how has this happened?
Yeah, I mean, you never dreamed of the Texas Longhorns actually coming to Morgantown. A lot of people made jokes for years about that, and it really did happen last weekend. And what stood out about the crowd, which was over 5,000 combined for the 3 days, is that there were very, very few students there. Most of the students had finished their finals and left town. This was the local community that came out to see this team, and that's something that's got to make Randy Mazey very pleased, to see that baseball is, at least this year, has really taken hold in the community, and they don't have to have a huge student turnout to have an enthusiastic crowd over there. So that's one of the big things I took away from that weekend.
No, that's interesting. And do you think West Virginia has the momentum and has proven that it has the base to move into this new stadium and do well there? And it's not that they have to get 5,000 fans every single night for this to necessarily be successful.
Right. I think it was good, that WVU, agreed to get some bleachers and have Big 12 games here. I thought personally they should have done it last year as well, but
Sure.
to introduce the Big 12 to the public here, and I think they've kind of seen that this is a high level of college baseball, and I think with the draw of the new stadium, I would expect to see some very good crowds there next year.
Yeah, I agree. Todd, appreciate your time once again. Please continue to check TheDPost.com for the latest on the Mountaineers. Thanks for watching again.